Hi, hello, and welcome. Welcome in, everybody. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm a little late. I'm sorry about that. I am never prepared, it seems like, I was prepared. I just didn't have my iPad on. But let me just go over here to the live tab. That way I can see the chat better. And welcome on in, everybody. It is the 29th. We're here. We're here for it. We're about to be in the May, which means we're that much closer to summer. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for the pool. But if you're here to talk true crime, you came to the right place. If this is your first time here, I'm Tanya or TitaniumBuilt. Welcome to the channel. And if you're coming back for another round, welcome back. Welcome back to you guys. I saw we had some people in here hanging out before I came on. Hey, Mary Beth. Hey, Ladybug. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Cheryl. It's good to see you guys. We're going to talk about Suzanne tonight. It's a little different. We haven't talked about Suzanne in a while. Hey, Miss Linda. You keep getting booted here. I'll get you the link. Let me see if this one should work for you. Welcome in. Hey, DM. Hey, Jean. Hey, Tammy. Hey, Solo. Solo changed her picture. Catherine. I know I'm missing people. I'm sorry. Patriotism. I'm about to say I think I am. Linda, Amy. Welcome in, everybody. Reba. Happy Sandy Beach. Can't say that fast. And hey, Reba. How you doing? Queen Olive. Heather. Welcome in. West Virginia Hollow Girl. Welcome in, everybody. I feel like once I start saying hi, I get towards the bottom. I'm like, well, you just got to keep going. Hey, Ashley. Hey, Amy. Oh, got a little sick one there. I have a dog over here sleeping beside me that I completely forgot about. She's just been so good. Hey, Tawny. She's happy. Doodlebug. I thought I saw someone else, but I might have missed someone. If I missed you, I'm sorry. But welcome in, everybody. We are going to get started with tonight's live. We're going to cover a couple cases. I want to do Suzanne Morphew for the most part, but there was an update in the Kansas City Chief fans kind of the mystery that was behind that case. The 3 Kansas City Chief fans that went to their buddy's house to watch the game, 3 of them ended up unalived. I can't really say they were dead. They were found dead outside. Gotta say the word sometimes. Hey, Cat's Life. Hey, Jenny. So they found them outside. They ended up ruling the death like fentanyl and cocaine related. I believe that was the cause. So they actually came out with a thing on News Nation, episode or whatever, and they were just talking about what happened and whether or not there's someone to blame for this or not. And, so I figured we would just go over it. It's just a short video, so I didn't think that, deserved not like it deserves a whole live, but you know what I mean? It's a 5-minute video, and I'd probably just have you guys here probably like, what are we doing here? But I think it's good to show because, it's kind of like, it's never going to be final for the victims' families. And I think that they want a different answer, but at least I think it's a step in the right direction for them, as they might not see it as of right now. But I think that later on, they'll maybe appreciate that they got some answers because, 3 men, 3 seemingly healthy guys. We didn't know for the longest time what had killed them. We literally was like, what happened? There was a 4th person there. Actually, there was a 5th person there, but he left before everyone. And then the person that owned the home, he was in bed. He went to bed. He didn't find him until the next morning. He didn't even find him. One of the guys' girlfriends, fiancés, found them in the backyard. So it was a really big case when it happened. Hey, Aries. It was really big. So I figured we'll just watch this video. It's Elizabeth Vargas, and then we'll move on to Suzanne's case tonight. Is there anything else I wanted to talk about before then? Nope. Just this. And I do. Oh, so that's what I wanted to tell you guys. I have a Sebastian Rogers stream in the making. That interview was crazy. So I'm trying to listen to it. I've been taking a lot of notes. I've got too many notes. So I'm going to, I still have a little bit more to listen to. That's how much notes I have. And then I'm going to put it all together in a little presentation for you guys for tomorrow. So, because it's a lot. Oh, Jesus loves me. Oh, most definitely she was. Yeah, Suzanne, yeah, for sure. And we all know who did it. I mean, we didn't arrest you for nothing, Barry. But I do I feel so bad for Suzanne's girls. I really do. Because they're going to have to do some soul searching, some praying. Man, you know, they don't want their father to be guilty. And who would want their father to be guilty of a crime like this? So let's go ahead and we'll watch the Kansas City Chiefs video here, and then we'll move on to Suzanne Morphew. Her autopsy did come out today, so we have that, and I'll read that to you guys.
150 Americans die from fentanyl-related overdoses every single day. And aside from that shocking statistic, there's
what does it take off DMs? Let me know.
The terrifying fact that many people who die have no idea they're even consuming it. That's because fentanyl is secretly added to other common drugs that users think they know how to use safely. So instead of getting perhaps that familiar high or even just relief from pain, they get a fatal surprise. And in turn, their families join a club of sorts that nobody ever wants to be part of. Our next guest is now a lifelong member after his cousin's death made national headlines back in January. It's a story we covered extensively on News Nation. Clayton McKinley, David Harrington, and Ricky Johnson all attended a Kansas City Chiefs football game to watch the game and party back in January. 2 days later, they were found dead in the backyard of their friend Jordan Willis's home. Willis says he had no idea his friends' bodies were out there. Willis reportedly checked himself into rehab after the incident and moved out of the home at the center of the investigation. Police say they have found no evidence of foul play. An autopsy and toxicology results are not public, but reportedly did show that the men all had 3 times the lethal amount of fentanyl plus cocaine in their systems. Well, now the mother of one of those 3 men who died, David Harrington, she wants criminal charges filed against the owner of that house. Clayton McKinley's cousin Alan says regardless of whether they're criminal charges, he just wants his cousin's death to save a life. So he's talking out about the fentanyl crisis. Alan McKinley joins us now. Thank you so much, Alan, for being here. I just want to get your reaction to what David Harrington's mom is doing. She's calling for criminal charges of some kind to be filed against Jordan Willis. Do you think charges are warranted?
Yeah, I mean, I understand a mother's pain, you know, searching for some sort of
Absolutely
understanding and looking for blame. That's, I mean, I understand that.
Yeah, this just came out
I mean, I don't know
today.
if the blame would be on, I mean, I forget the guy's name, as Jordan, you said.
Jordan.
I don't think Jordan is to blame here, personally. I don't want to take anything away from a grieving mother, but I mean, Jordan wasn't much different than my cousin Clayton, and I loved Clayton, you know, so I don't necessarily see an issue in Jordan's actions. I mean, he was right there with my very best friend, you know, so I personally don't feel the same way.
Yeah. Police do say there's an investigation ongoing, but that there's no evidence of foul play. What is it they're still investigating?
He's like almost like at the acceptance stage, and she's at the angry, like the mom's at the angry, I want to blame somebody stage. I feel like they're just in different stages in their grief. It's sad.
Yeah,
she wants to blame somebody.
I haven't really been following it, you know, if I'm following anything, it would be more just where the nation is. What is the nation doing? You know, I don't necessarily think that it's Jordan's fault here. I think that it would be the society itself's, you know, there's not too much going on to stop fentanyl getting into America. You know what you said, it was 150 people every day died from it.
Yeah.
150 children, 150 kids. So I mean, what's going on overseas and what's causing all of the uprise in the colleges now, and how many days would it take to meet that same amount of life being lost? Like, where is the uproar for that?
Yeah, the autopsy report has not been released, but we know the families were told that there was fentanyl, THC, and cocaine in all the men's bodies. You know, we see this tragedy every day. People get a Percocet and think it's just, you know, because they've got back pain. People just go to a party and want to do something fun to get a little high. They have no idea that the drug they might be taking, the pill they might be taking, that it's tainted with fentanyl.
Yeah, you know, drugs have always been a part of, seems like a part of growing up. You know, in the 70s, it was one thing, 60s, it was one thing, 80s, it was a different drug. And now the drug that the kids are dealing with is fentanyl. I mean, you take some acid or some mushrooms and it doesn't kill you. You know, cocaine back in the 80s, you take a look, it didn't kill you. Well, now you take a drug and you're risking your life.
Yeah. Jordan Willis went into rehab shortly after the men were found dead in his yard. Is he out? Have you heard anything?
There's any contact I had with that group of friends after Clayton died, that was kind of the person that I would, with that group of people, that was the connection to it. So I have absolutely no idea what's going on with it.
Alan, what would you say to everybody listening about the dangers of fentanyl right now? Your family's been really touched by this.
Man, I would just like to talk to the parents. If anyone's listening, this is something that your children deal with, and your children, if they haven't dealt with it, they will deal with it. So, I mean, if thank you, Elizabeth, for putting it on your show and trying to reach out about it. But I don't think it's getting enough coverage.
Yeah.
So parents, it's up to the parents at this point. You got to take your family in your own hands.
Yeah. Do not. I tell my kids this all the time. I don't care what it is. Even if it's somebody hands it and says an aspirin, don't take it. You never, ever take a drug of any kind.
There's kits out there. There's stuff. There's tests. If you're a smart kid,
the tests don't actually.
She's like, don't you tell my kids that.
You should. No drugs.
Just don't do it.
No drugs.
Just no drugs. Hey, there you go.
All right, Alan McKinley. Thanks so much for watching.
That was kind of cute. He was like, no drugs, no drugs. Okay. But, there are tests out there that will, test it for you. If you must be doing it, but just don't do it. But they put stuff in everything now like that. They put fentanyl in everything. It happened to one of my friends. I didn't think that it would happen to anybody that I knew, that I would be close. I wasn't close with this person, but we went to high school together, and his dad tutored me like my last year of school because I was in a car accident. Him and his girlfriend, I guess they went out and they were out on the town. I haven't seen them in like 20 years, but they were out on the town and they decided to come back home and they wanted to get some of the white stuff to do together. And 2 days later, they were found. Both of them dead from overdose. So, and when I heard that, I was like, not Sam, anybody but him. It's just, you never know. You never know. And it could be something that you think, hey, I'm just going to do this one time. It's not a big deal. I've done this before. You never know. Sorry about that, Miss Linda. I was like, dang it, I forgot to give Miss Linda the channelship or the membership link. Thank you, Miss Linda. The pharmacist, I'll put the link in the chat for you. You can become a member, and then sometimes we gift memberships. We did the other night. Thanks, Tony. Victorine's been a member for 9 months. Look at that. Oh my gosh. We had some memberships in here like the other night, and it was like 14 months, 12 months. I was like, oh my gosh. Didn't realize I had a channel that long. So we'll go ahead and we'll move it on to Suzanne because that's what we're here for. And thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it. And I'll say, did I get that link? I did that time. So this came out today. This is the CBI update. Let me get myself on the screen. There I am. April 29th, 2024. The agencies investigating the Suzanne Morphew case are aware the autopsy report of Suzanne is now complete and determined her death to be, homicide by undetermined means in the setting of, and I'm going to tell you what these say. After the computer tells me how to word these. She had 3 different drugs in her system, and I'm going to tell you what they are in a minute. But they are like horse tranquilizers. One is used for like putting you under for like surgery. And then there's like a third one. So we'll go over all that. And I'll tell you what they are. Because, if you know there was a tranquilizer found in the dryer. So Barry's house, their house. So man, they're coming for you, Barry. They really are. So I figured what we'll do is since I don't know, is everyone caught up on the case? I don't think everyone is. Maybe not. Maybe I want to get like the right information to you guys. So maybe we'll play this video. I think we will. I think we'll play the video of them when they found her body. Because then that'll help, everybody to remember. If you guys don't, and if you don't know the case, it'll help you get caught up because there were things that I kind of forgot about. Because it has been a while since we've covered this case on the channel. I mean, I mentioned something yesterday or day before, I think it was yesterday about it, but everything came out today. So it's going to be pretty eventful, I feel like, here before too long. So the Colorado Bureau of Investigation and our law enforcement partners understand and appreciate the public interest surrounding this case, said CBI Director Chris Schaefer. The investigative team assembled to work this case continues to follow the evidence and only the evidence as we seek justice for Suzanne's death. Suzanne's remains were found near the town of Moffett in Saginaw County. And that county is in the 12th Judicial District. The investigative team will continue to consult with 12th Judicial District Attorney Ann Kelly. The autopsy report was shared with the Morphew family as soon as the coroner received it. I wonder if his daughters read it, or I'm sure he did, but I wonder if they did. Because, you know, it might be too painful, but I would want to know. And it just says no further information can be shared at this time. It remains an active investigation. If you have any tips, you can call 719-312-7530. Morphew tip line email is, I think this is like supposed to have some, I'm not even going to give you the email because that's not written out right. I bet you it doesn't even take me to a page. Let me see. Yeah, it didn't even take me to a page. So I'm not going to give you the email there. Or you can email, or if you want to, that's for the records request. So yeah, just use the tip line, 719-312-7530. That should get you where you need to be. And hopefully, you know, yeah, I saw that the pharmacist said, I heard that they had they came out with a statement. I have a video and I was like, oh, she seems Blaine. She's kind of boring. But I mean, she's an attorney, so I guess they kind of are sometimes. But before we do that, what we'll do is we'll go over, it's like the timeline is with Vinnie Politan. This came out when they found her remains, and literally they were scattered. I do have it on Google Earth. I pulled it up. So let me see if I can, there we go, bring it up for you guys. So where this is, let me go down. Where it says let me go down a little bit. I don't know why it put me so far up, but this is like where she was from. Maysville is where Suzanne and Barry lived. That was the town. And she was found. Why didn't it show it up? I know she wasn't this far down. Did it like take my marker off? It must have. So and then this is Moffett County, but that's not right. That's Moffett is the town, not Moffett County. Okay. Let me go back. Sorry, guys. I wanted to show you a little bit on the map, but I guess I didn't have it. There we go. I didn't have it pinned there. So it's not that far. It's just a couple counties over, it looks like. From where she was located to where she was, where she lived to where she was located. I had never looked that up on the map before. I don't know why I haven't, but I hadn't. So I thought what we would do is just listen to Vinnie Politan. He'll kind of tell us everything we need to know. You know, going back, he's going to cover it all. He's going to cover the text messages with her, you know, her boyfriend, lover. They're going to go over the tranquilizer dart found in the dryer. They're going to go over a lot. So if you guys don't mind taking a second, hit the like button. If you like, you know, the coverage, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Yeah, so Saginaw County. I think that's how you pronounce it. Saginaw. No, I think I said it wrong that time, but I know I know what it looks like when I see it. But yeah, that's the county, and then I don't know why I did one county and then one town, but I did it that way, didn't I? Okay. Vinny looks like he's in a good mood.
I'm Vinnie Politan. Great to have you with us here on Closing Arguments. Like I've been saying, it's a big week here at Court TV. A lot of movement in cases that we've been following and tracking for years. And one of them is the disappearance of Suzanne Morphew. This is a woman married, 2 children, a husband, living in this beautiful home in Colorado, goes missing on Mother's Day. Well, this week, her remains have been recovered, and we have a lot that we want to get to in this story. But first, let's walk you through the timeline to give you a little more perspective on what happened and transpired during the course of this case. So May 9th, 2020, Suzanne Morphew's last known communication is a selfie sent to her lover in Michigan. He replied, but she did not respond to his reply messages. May 10th, the next day, Barry, Suzanne's husband, says Suzanne was still sleeping when he left for business. Now, this May 10th, this is Mother's Day, in Broomfield, Colorado. He's seen on surveillance at a Broomfield Holiday Inn with 2 white trash bags that morning. It's a little odd, but he is away. Barry's seen on surveillance video placing the items into trash cans all around Broomfield, Colorado.
He was
That's
everywhere.
kind of weird. I'm sorry, that's just weird.
I try to put this in the chat, but it won't let me because YouTube keeps rejecting my chats whenever I try to put something that they don't like in there. So I'm going to put in the 3 rugs that were found in Suzanne's bones. So they had to test her bones because there wasn't much, left. So these are the 3 that they found. And then I'll pronounce them after this, after this is over with. And let you know what they do.
I mean, there might be a reason for it, I guess, but still a little suspicious.
Little Brian Koberger-ish.
Later that day, Suzanne is reported missing. Suzanne's bicycle is found near their home down a steep ravine off Chaffee County Road 225 from Highway 50. And that was a big part of the initial investigation. Maybe she went for a bike ride, maybe there was an accident, mountain lions, abduction, something. Like what is it? How did the bike
mountain
get
lions,
there?
Remember he said that?
May 11th, the next day, the search efforts begin. Hundreds of people work to find Suzanne. A reward for information on her disappearance begins to grow. May 13th, Suzanne's bike helmet is found less than a mile from where her bicycle was located. That's also an interesting fact, right? What does that mean? What picture does that paint? May 17th, so this is 1 week later, Barry Morphew posts a video online pleading for Suzanne's safe return. In the video, he seems to take the approach that he believes she has been abducted and says, return her, no questions asked. Okay, May 20th. This is where things get even more interesting. Investigators locate a spy pen during the search of the Morphew's residence. In one of the files, Suzanne apparently places the pen inside Barry's car, where it records him listening to multiple episodes of Forensic Files. Now, obviously, watching Forensic Files is not suspicious, right?
It should be against the law to do it. I'm just kidding. I love Forensic Files.
Because, I mean, we've had Forensic Files on Court TV. It's where the whole thing started, right? But still kind of interesting when you think about how things transpire here. May 5th, 2021, okay? This is a year later. Barry is arrested, charged with first-degree murder and other crimes. April 19th, 2022, flash forward almost another year. Everyone's getting ready for the trial.
We weren't getting
Court
updates
TV.
hardly at all.
Days before the trial is set to begin, prosecutors drop charges against Barry Morphew without prejudice, meaning they can refile them. And in this picture, you see Barry, that's him with his 2 daughters who absolutely believe that their father is 1000% innocent in
And they 1000% look like their mother.
all of this.
They really do.
September 22nd, Suzanne Morphew's remains are found in Moffett, Colorado during an apparent unrelated search. An unrelated search. That's a little peculiar, a little different. You're investigating another case and you find this case, which has been investigated for years. September 27th, the remains of Suzanne Morphew were positively identified. So that gives you some idea of how everything has transpired since Suzanne Morphew was last heard from and was reported missing. So you got to go back. You got to go back to 2020. Let's bring in a special guest joining me from Denver, Colorado tonight. Reporter for the Denver Gazette, Carol McKinley is with us. Carol, thank you so much for joining us tonight, doing great reporting on this. Let me start with where Suzanne's remains were found. And I know there were reports, and I believe you were the one that was reporting all of this, that there was a potential lead and there was thought that there was a spot where her body was that was difficult to access, maybe, and police were, it was going to take some time to get there. Is this the area? Is this the same area, we believe, where they thought she may have been and where they ended up finding her?
Great question, Vinny. No, in fact, the investigation never even considered this area. This is a place that surprised everyone who was involved in the original investigation. They were looking up in the mountains behind the Morphew's
It looked like it was an open
where
field.
there are a bunch of old mines. You know, Colorado was an old gold mining area. There were silver mines, and those go way deep down. And so I know that some of the investigation was centering around these mines, and nothing was ever found in them. Some of the reasoning was when they dropped this case, we know where she is, but she's underneath a bunch of snow, and we're going to have to wait till the thaw. Well, the thaw came. They didn't find anything. Fast forward to this year, another thaw, and it didn't matter anyway because that's not where she was. She was in this place about 45 minutes from where the Morphews lived, their mountain home, which was remote. This is also remote, but it's a field.
It's a field,
And
yeah.
it's kind of a pasture where there's sagebrush and
Let me see if I can find it. I'll find it as we're watching this.
dry
if they don't show
grass.
it.
And I'm told it was near a road, but it was just enough off the road to where you couldn't really see if someone was digging. You couldn't really see what was going on or understand.
That's interesting, but remote, right?
Yeah.
Nonetheless, you're not in the middle of a town somewhere. This is an area where maybe you could pull off the side of the road and maybe no one comes by.
Yeah, and this is directly south, about 45 minutes from the Morphew home. Now, what I'm told is the way to get back to Broomfield, if Barry Morphew were to drive 45 minutes south, bury the body, add another 45 minutes on, let's say you add 3 hours to that trip to Broomfield, he couldn't do it. I mean, he was not in Saguache on May 10th. His GPS didn't go there and his cell phone didn't go there. So it kind of makes everybody take another look and say, well, Barry was arrested for this. He was charged for it. Did he go to jail for no reason? Is he the wrong guy? Are there two people? Did someone help him? Was there an individual who was maybe a serial killer who got involved in this? And it wasn't Barry at all. So I think finding these remains, these bones, which were found and scattered across this field, only brings up more questions.
Oh, a ton of questions. Now, what struck me was they were investigating another case. Is this other case, do we know what it is? Is it a murder case? And did they find anything related to that case in this area?
They didn't. The other case is a woman named Edna Quintana who went missing last May 3rd, so of 2023. She was walking around in this town called Saguache, last seen walking, and just disappeared. Her body hasn't been found, but that's who Colorado Bureau of Investigation detectives were looking for when they came across Suzanne Morphew's bones. They were like, oh my gosh, this isn't Edna Quintana. It's too old because she went missing in May. Who could this be? And so they had, meetings, and they called the DA of that area, which is a different DA who's been prosecuting this case all along. They, got a hold of the coroner, and they sent these remains up to a coroner in El Paso County, which is Colorado Springs, and he's the one who identified Suzanne Morphew.
So from my perspective, when I first heard of Suzanne's story, I'm like, this doesn't.
I'm not sure exactly how they identified her. I'm assuming through, DNA through her daughters, maybe. But let me know if you guys remember how they matched her DNA up.
Doesn't strike me
concluded it was
as
her.
an area where you would have one of these crimes of opportunity, where someone is going for a bike ride or going jogging. It's so remote, and then someone would grab them, murder them, and get rid of their body. But now you're telling me there's another woman, less than an hour away who was out for a walk and disappeared. Is there any, fear out there right now that there could be some sort of mountain serial killer in Colorado?
I haven't heard that there's any fear, but I don't live down there. It's about 4 hours away from Denver to the south. I don't live there, so I don't know if there's fear, but Barry Morphew's attorney is suggesting that this could be the same person, especially since this woman went missing on May 3rd, which is about the same time that Suzanne Morphew disappeared. That was May 9th, 10th. So she's wondering if there's a link. I mean, she's trying to connect whatever she can to make sure the attention goes away from Barry Morphew.
Wow. Okay, let's talk about some of the evidence, though, because he was, like we all said, he was arrested for murder. He was charged. We were waiting for the trial to begin. How about that tranquilizer dart gun that we read about? What do we know
literally
about
had
that
him
tranquilizer
right there in the
dart
courtroom.
gun?
It didn't last long.
Well, we know that this was a theory of the prosecution that perhaps he shot her with a dart gun in order to get her, incapacitated so that he could then kill her later. That was the prosecution's theory. There was a piece of that dart, that little piece you see right there, part of a syringe that was found in the dryer at the Morphew home by investigators. Now, this is just a theory. The dart gun really didn't work very well. I don't know how viable it is, but it is something that if she had been hit by that dart gun, she would have gone to sleep. The prosecution and the investigation with the sheriff's office interviewed a woman up in Fort Collins at Colorado State University who studies veterinary medicine. And this dart gun and the medicine you put in the gun is used to tranquilize animals. And she said that if a female or someone the size of Suzanne Morphew was shot with this thing, she would have gone to sleep and wouldn't have been able to move.
Just saying, this came out September 27, 2023.
How about
That's just a theory.
They
Right.
knew that because that cap
How
was
about
in
the
the
bags of trash?
that tip was in
So,
the washer dryer.
I've covered cases where, there's a husband accused of murdering his wife, dismembering her, putting her in different bags of trash, throwing it out all around town. What do we know about the bags of trash that he's throwing away the morning that he drives away from his house and goes on this business trip?
Well, it is curious that he drove away from his home to go to Broomfield at 5 o'clock in the morning on Mother's Day. He had a job up there to do, and the job wasn't really supposed to be done until Monday. So in other words, the next day, the 11th. For some reason, he went to Broomfield early in the morning, got there about 8 in the morning, and he was out throwing trash in different places. There was a McDonald's where he really stuffed something small and, really pushed it down. There's video of it. He went to a men's warehouse and stuffed trash there. He stuffed trash at the hotel where he was staying. And he actually went out to the landscaping scene where he was putting in a retaining wall. He got back to the hotel about noon. He's seen on surveillance here as you are looking. You're seeing him with the trash.
What you doing, Barry?
He changed clothes, and then he went into that room for 5 hours. He didn't come out until about 5:55, and one would not tell investigators what he was doing for 5 hours in that
Probably took a nap.
hotel room. So that is a mystery because there were no cameras inside the room. There are just the cameras that show him walking around in the hall, coming back and forth and removing tools and placing tools. He got the call about his wife's disappearance at about 5:15 from one of his neighbors. So he was still in the hotel room. And then about 40 minutes later is when he decided to drive back down to his home, 3-hour drive. And that's when he showed up and investigators were there worried about where his wife was.
Wow. Now, she had a boyfriend, right? And she was snapping this selfie. What was the status of their marriage? And did he have a girlfriend?
Did Barry have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
No, not that we know of. In
Okay.
fact, she bought that spy pin to catch him in the act. And instead it caught her in the act.
Right.
You know, she didn't tell anybody about this
It was
boyfriend, not even her
her.
best friend who she
Pharmacist. It wasn't him that was having an affair. It was her. It was Suzanne that was having the affair. And I don't know about the port. I don't know how long she had been like in remission from the cancer, but I would assume that after, you know, a certain amount of time, they're going to take that port out. Why leave something in there if you don't need it? I mean, you know, I don't know how hard it is to put one in. If it's, you know what I mean? If it's something that you can just take out and if you need to, you could put it back in pretty easily, or if it's something, I'll have to look into that. I'm curious to know. I want to know what it does, what happens.
confided
Wanna know all the
everything to
things.
about her marriage. You know, she was talking about a spiraling marriage. She was talking about leaving him. She confided in this girlfriend everything, but she didn't tell him about her boyfriend, who she had a fling with for about 2 years. That was going on for 2 years. They saw each other 6 times in those 2 years, and there were lots of texts, hundreds of texts between the two of them. But no, Barry Morphew, from all indications, did not have a relationship with another woman.
And it was Mother's Day. They have 2 lovely daughters. Where were
I think she might have
their
the
children
port. Yeah,
on that day?
maintenance. Yeah, she's under maintenance still.
That's a good question. They were on a trip. They were on like a camping trip or something, and they had texted her on Mother's Day to say Happy Mother's Day and didn't get a response, and that's when they started getting nervous. I think they're the ones. It's kind of unclear to me now, trying to remember, but I think they're the ones who called the neighbors and said, "Would you go look at the garage and see if our mom's there? See what you see. Is her car there?" And it, you know, there was no sign of Suzanne Morphew, and that's when the neighbor decided I'd better call Barry and find out if Barry knows anything. So, yeah, the sisters, the 2 girls, one was living at home still because she was a senior in high school, junior or senior. The other one was in college. So the younger one had told Suzanne to get a restraining order or get a divorce. She was telling her mother, "This isn't working, Mom." She saw the fights. The oldest sister did not see all that because she was at college. So that's been a real curiosity to see both girls sit always on the side of their dad.
Well, if you think about it too, their house was what, like $3 million. It was a huge house. If you want to have an argument with someone, you can go to the other side of the house and your kid don't have to hear you, you know? So she might not have even witnessed all of the arguments. But if
On
the
side of their
daughter's
dad
saying
in
to
the
get out of
courtroom,
it,
you know, they would do heart hands and they would cry, and they, you know, they
saying something.
are generally sad about losing both their mom and then losing their dad when he went to jail.
Yeah. Family tragedy. Children, from what I've seen in most of the cases I've covered, an overwhelming majority, the children, whether they're young or adults, will always stay with the surviving spouse, even if they're charged with murder,
That's so true.
regardless of the evidence. Carol McKinley, amazing. Denver Gazette, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
So good to see you. Thanks a lot for asking.
All right,
That's
folks.
back when Vinny
When we come
smiled.
back, we'll bring in the think tank plus up next.
So where exactly was Suzanne Morphew?
I'm just gonna. Sorry, I thought that was like a commercial there. It was a little bit.
And just a confirmation, you left this morning at 5. Okay. And she told you she was going to go bike riding?
Bikes every day, yeah.
Okay.
She said she's gonna bike, gets up.
So she was asleep in the bed when you left. Did you say bye to her or anything?
No, she's sound asleep.
Okay.
Always leave her.
So the last time you probably actually saw her was this morning. That was it, right?
Yeah, I've been there. I got a big job up there. I've been there all day.
So there's Barry Morphew speaking on
Like, I've been there all day. I feel like that was, intentional.
to officers about his wife. He says, listen, I left, she was asleep. And then I went and I was working all day in Broomfield, Colorado. So let's take a look, because as he's told investigators where he was that day that she went missing. So let's kind of put this all in perspective and put a map up on the screen. And we begin with Suzanne and Barry's Colorado home. It's in the Maysville area of Salida, Colorado. Suzanne's bike was found nearby the day that she went missing, May 10th, 2020. Now, her remains are found in Moffett, Colorado. more than 3 years after she disappeared. It's about a 51-minute drive from the Morphew's home to where her remains are found. You drive 51 minutes south. Now, Barry says he's up in Broomfield, Colorado. He says he went there on business that morning, May 10th, 2020, about a 3-hour drive from Morphew's home. And it's about a 3.5-hour drive from Moffett, where the remains were discovered. So, you know, you do the math on all of that and you try to figure out what happened. But if he's going down to Moffett, Colorado, as we heard in the prior segment, they have no evidence of him necessarily being down there. Did he have help? Is he not responsible? Is there a serial killer? What is going on? Will Barry be charged now? Will he be charged again now that they have the remains? Does that make the prosecution's case better or worse against him? Let's bring in our think tank tonight. Joining us, criminal defense attorney in Atlanta, Georgia, Eklund Mercy. Phoenix, Arizona, the attorney who represented Jodi Arias, hates her, Kirk Nury, and deputy public defender for LA County. That's still Eklund. There, Philip Dubois. All right, great to see everyone tonight. Eklund Mercy, these developments, now that Suzanne Morphew's remains have been recovered and where they were recovered, putting all these pieces together, does this make the prosecutor's case stronger or weaker right now? And do you expect Barry Morphew to be charged again?
Just based on what I heard, I think they need more. It's so separate. It's so far away. There's 3 years. There was another case. It was found for another case. There's a potential serial killer. Although he may look like the prime suspect, there is no statute of limitations for murder. And I think that the prosecution, if this is all they have, they need more. They're going to have a problem. So I think that there's a lot of answers. There's a lot of questions that need answers, and they don't have it as of right now.
So, Kirk Nury, generally speaking, right? Generally speaking, in cases where there's an obvious suspect and someone that investigators are looking at or prosecutors are looking at, and the body has not been found. Once the body's found, it's usually pretty quick. All right, we recovered the body. Now we make the arrest. How about in this case? What do you expect? What does this this discovery of this significant evidence and the location, et cetera, what does it do for the investigation, the case, as it pertains to Barry Morphew, who obviously was a suspect? He was charged with her murder.
Well, I think it makes the case a lot more difficult to prove unless there's something at that crime scene that indicates that he was involved. You know, we're talking about 3 years of exposure. I don't think there's probably going to be any DNA. It's possible retention in clothing. I really doubt it. So the question, and we think about this, Vinny, when they made this arrest in May of 21, they charged him. Think about the probable cause statement that led to the arrest, the indictment, all the pleadings, everything else was probably based on a different theory, right? And now that theory's blown out of the water because the body's somewhere else, he's demonstrably not. And you do, as Eklund said, have the potential of somebody who's going around killing women randomly, and that could very well be a possibility. So, you know, all those things, I could see the defense really playing into that, saying confirmation bias. They just made the assumption that he is the most likely person to do it. Granted, there's some suspicious behavior, but he's the most likely person to have done it, so we're going to arrest him. Now, that's just blown out of the water with facts, and facts are stubborn things, Vinny, and the state is going to have a tough time making this case with these facts that come out now.
All right, Philip Dubois, we've got the new developments, where she is found, where it is in relation to their home and to where he was, and he was on video that day. Her last communication to anyone is a bikini selfie to her lover the day before. Her bicycle is found nearby, then the helmet is found less than a mile away. Put those pieces together for me. What does it mean?
Well, first of all, I think you've left out some key pieces. No, first of all, she's not June Cleaver. You know, she's not the Carol Brady, Mother Teresa, Mother of the Year kind of gal. Remember, her 2 kids are away at sleepaway camp. They're expecting the kids back later in the day for Mother's Day. So dad takes the morning off to go to a job site. So it explains why they're not together during the day on Mother's Day. So what does she do? She goes off on her own frolic. Well, what we need to know from the coroner.
Wait, what do
is
you mean she
it
goes
a
off on her own
homicide?
frolic? What does that mean, Philip? She goes off on her frolic.
Because, in other words, she got on her bike, took a ride somewhere, and in other words, not necessarily in disregard of Mother's Day, but she went off, did her own thing because the kids weren't home, the husband wasn't home, and they were going to celebrate Mother's Day later in the day after her teenage daughters come home. But what's key here is the reason why the case was dismissed is because the prosecution withheld Brady evidence, exculpatory evidence. They found DNA on the glove box that matched an unknown male donor whose DNA was also came up in 3 unsolved rapes. So no matter what happens here, if you don't have anything forensically tying the husband to her remains, what you do have is DNA basically from a serial rapist in her SUV on the glove box. I don't think the case changes. If anything, by finding the body, it could actually make it worse for the prosecution.
Against Barry Morphew. Okay. So what do you think happened here, Eklund? What do you think could have happened here? Do you think the bicycle is more likely she went for a ride, or more likely that it was staged by whoever the killer was? You know, you've got, as Philip rightfully pointed out, you've got this male donor DNA in her glove box.
I personally think she might have went on the ride, but something happened to her during the ride. Like, I think that, I mean, I personally think Barry looks a little suspicious in my eyes, but, you know, I don't want to blame anybody before they've had their day in court. But I believe that whoever did do this, they, you know, they probably did let her go on her bike. But that bike was thrown down that ravine.
But she's out on her bike. Like,
Or up it.
How do those two things
Probably down it.
Make sense together either?
Well, her being on her bike on Mother's Day is not out of the ordinary.
You'll find out tonight that she was in her bike clothes. So she probably did go on a bike ride that day.
If you talk to most mothers on Mother's Day, they want to be far away from their
That's true.
spouses and their children. That is the gift. That's the gift.
Some space is the gift. Gotcha.
So with that being said, so with her driving, with her taking her bike, that's not out of the ordinary. She wants to have space. But the problem is we have a lover, we have DNA from rapists, we have other murderers, other missing people, and we have bodies. This is convoluted as hell. And it just seems pretty lazy, you know, on investigators, and to just leave it at that. Just putting all of that work on the jury instead of the prosecution. The prosecution should have a theory. I don't see a theory. I see, trash cans, and he goes to trash cans. That doesn't hold up the case. With all their resources, with all their burden, they need more.
We will continue to follow it. We'll be talking about this.
Okay. So that got us caught up to what I wanted to go over tonight. That was weird. That was kind of like a relay. I'm wrong. I like to be with my family. I know a lot. Okay. Doodlebug. All your little things are cute. I was just reading the chat. Okay. Just reading the chat. But we'll go ahead and we'll read the autopsy report. It did come out today. They released it this afternoon, and the autopsy was done, performed on the 27th of this month. So let me pull this up. It's been a long time. It's been a long, long time. I was trying to find where I was at earlier, but the drugs that she had in her system, one was a tranquilizer, one was like to put somebody under, and I'm trying to think of the other one. But they were all having to do with like putting somebody down, like putting someone under, not like, you know what I mean, putting them under. It says that the 3 drugs listed in the autopsy report can be compounded into an animal tranquilizer known as the BAM formulation. And it says, and that mixture is often used to sedate large game animals such as elk, deer, and black bears. Maybe a mountain lion. These drugs are controlled substances and must be prescribed by a veterinarian, but people can buy the formulation from specialized animal pharmacies for personal use to manage wildlife on farms and ranches and in forest. I wonder if they'd sell these. I thought I was on the screen. I wonder if they would sell these at your local like Tractor Supply, where you could mix them together. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that's where when I think of like animals, I think of Tractor Supply, like going to Tractor Supply. I know that they sell like shots for your dog and stuff there if you want to give them to them yourself. So maybe they do sell those. That's something I don't know. And it says right here, dental records. I didn't even look at that part. I didn't really look at the top of this. I just started reading the final diagnosis when I read this. But the MD was Emily Kinsley. And the final diagnosis here is homicide by unspecific means in the setting of, and I want to make sure I say these right. So I'm usually pretty good at pronunciation not with any words other than medication. Butorphanol, azaperone, and let me see what this one. Sorry, I don't know these by heart. Medetomidine. Medications I've never heard of. And that is medetomidine intoxication. A is reported history of recovery of a partial skeleton, medical port, and clothing scattered in and around a shallow grave in Saginaw County. My finger's like swollen. Positive dental identification at time of autopsy examination. Reported history. Descendant was reported missing in Chaffee County 5/10/2020, and her bicycle and helmet were discovered without significant damage in separate locations within the county. No indication of perimortem trauma. Post-mortem toxicology of femoral trabecular bone identified, and the 3 medications that I identified earlier. I really can't say them very well, so I'm not going to do that to you. And then clinical history. Descendant was receiving maintenance. I don't know how to say that either. But it's a medication for chemotherapy after complete remission of recurrent follicular lymphoma. And I think she had it. I think she had it a couple of times. Oh, and I'm sorry. She was 52. I thought she was 49. Hold on a second. I mean, I'm not going to like second guess them, but I kind of am. Why do I see 49? I'm trying to find like another article. Very weird. It says here 49, but and that's CNN. So let me know if you know, because I thought she was 49 this whole time, but it says here 52. So let me see when the birthday was. What's her birthday? 52, 71. No, that would be. That is 49. Yeah, so, okay. Okay. Very weird, you know what I mean? Because even if they put her at 52 now, it wouldn't have been 49 then. It's been 4 years. we're going on to 4 years, right? 2020. But I guess it would be like 3 and some. But it says, based upon the information provided to me at the time of this report, it is my opinion that Suzanne Morphew, a 52-year-old adult white female, died as a result of homicide by unspecified means in the setting of, and it gives those 3 medications. It's intoxication. These drugs are marketed as a compounded injectable chemical immobilizer for wildlife, providing pharmacologically reversible, I know that's like anesthesiology, sedation and immobilization. If more information becomes available, this report may be amended. Manner of death, homicide. And then this is just the person that's present, that was there. And then general examination. The descendant is, initially identified as Jane Doe. Submitted for examination are 3 large, this is graphic, 3 large paper bags containing bones, 7 brown paper bags containing clothing, and 7 envelopes containing items to be described. The submitted items are radiographed. The skeletal remains are submitted in 3 bags labeled. This is sad, but she's literally been reduced to 3 bags. Jane Doe RN17, Saginaw County, day 1. Jane Doe RN17, Saginaw County, day 1, skull. Jane Doe RN17, Saginaw County, day 2 and 3. The 3 bags contain multiple human and non-human bones and fragments, dirt, and a wood fragment. Wonder what the wood fragment. Wonder what this, I wonder why they grabbed the wood fragment. There's a lot of wood out there. Why'd they grab that one? The submitted human bones included the skull with a mandible, sacrum, multiple ribs, bilateral radii, and is that how you say it? And ulnae, manburum and sternum, right scapula, clavicle, right and left femoral, right and left tibia, fibula, and multiple vertebrae. None of the bones bear any residual soft tissue. So they were just bones, which we kind of knew that. The right femoral head is retained for toxicology testing prior to release for forensic anthropology examination. I wonder, it's kind of like a weird question. It's kind of a gross question to ask, but I wonder how long, this might be ignorant, but when your body is like decomposing, does the rest of you decompose before like your brain does? Because it's like, I don't know. Does that sound stupid? Because it's like in your skull, or does that kind of all go together? Is what I'm wondering. Because I'm wondering why that they're keeping that part of her. Do you know what I mean? To test for those things. And let me know if you know, because I don't know that. Submitted is an envelope labeled 92423 HLS-11 2023-404 purple medical device grave. The envelope contains a dirt-covered purple medical port labeled 6328. That's sad. 7 brown paper bags remain in the custody of CBI and contain a pale pattern black calva, a pink, that's like the thing that goes over your face, a pink and light color leather work glove, a light color partial padded bra, a ripped dark blue/gray hooded sweatshirt labeled Crescent Butte, a torn green Nike tank top, Yeti shorts, and a fabric fragment. The clothing and fabric fragment are all weathered and covered in dirt. All paper bags are labeled respective to their contents. 6 envelopes remain in the custody of CBI, contain 5 fabric fragments, and 1 weathered bullet, and are labeled as such. So 1 weathered bullet in with the fabric of clothes. It was retained at the time. Oh, thank you. All right. Okay. Thanks. Wait, what? Thanks for hitting the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I mean, I have a lot of metal in me and I know a lot of the bones, and I've busted a lot of bones. But she's literally been reduced to nothing. Now, do we think he was using that spot and like he tried to, because they were looking for someone else when they found Suzanne. I'm wondering if this is this person's first crime, or if they were trying to cover up one crime with another crime. So it says here, evidence, the medical device is released to Chaffee County Sheriff's Office on 9/27/2023. A disc of 2 x-rays is released to Dr. Kim Look on 9/28/2023. TA-11 possible bones and TA-12 bones are received on 9/29/2023 from CBI to be included with the collection of skeletal remains subsequently released to Dr. Diane France. And she must be the pathologist. After receipt of the remains back to El Paso County Coroner's Office, these packages appear to have contained probable rocks. 3 teeth are released to CBI on 10/3/2023 for DNA testing. How did they find those? Like, really, in an open field like that? Oh, man. 1 paper bag containing 4 packets, botany/bug, and 2 packets from hoodie are received on 1/16/2024 from Diane France, Dr. Diane France. On January 17th of this year, the femurs are sectioned at the proximal and distal metaphyses, I don't know, for toxicology and DNA samples. And it's just given the femur, yep, right and left femur. Distal femurs are released to CBI on 1/22/24 for DNA testing, returned to El Paso County Coroner's Office on April the 3rd, 2024, and re-released to CBI on April 5th, 2024. So she literally was put into a few bags. Now, do you guys think that if you were in your 20s and all you had left out of your parents was your dad, would you want to read the autopsy report? Like, would you want to know? I don't know if I could be. I don't know. I'm one of those people, like, I would want to know, but I know how long it took me just to read my dad. So it took a long time. But I think I would want to know if my father did this to my mother or not. I mean, I can understand why those girls don't want it to be their father. And I'm not saying it is, allegedly. Everything I say is alleged when it comes to Barry Morphew. But, I mean, he's been arrested before for it, but they did let him out. So, he might get lucky, but I don't think he's going to get that lucky. I really don't. And so they did, when they searched his house, they did find a dart gun, and then they found empty darts and a needle used to inject tranquilizer chemicals. And they found the dart cap in the dryer. So it was in the clothes dryer mixed in with bedding and stuff like that. And he said that he uses those tranquilizers and the guns for getting like deer, just like sedating deer for their antlers. So yeah, right, Aaron? Yeah, nail it. Thanks, Solo. I'm pretty well, actually I had 100 A+ in medical terminology, if you could believe that. I did. 100. Didn't miss any. But these ones I've never heard of. These ones I haven't heard of. Nope. Not at all. And thank God I didn't break my femur. Tibia, fibula, yep, did those. Ribs, did that. Face, jaw, did that. Wrist, did that. Foot, did that. Can't say my femur was good. So is that where they usually, I wonder if that's usually where they test. Like, maybe it's because it's like one of the biggest bones, not the biggest. Now I'm looking up random. So it is the largest, and it's also the longest and strongest. It supports up to 30 times a person's body weight. And in adults, the femur can be nearly 20 inches long. Yeah. It's the heaviest too. Just trying to give you guys some facts. What's the weakest bone? Clavicle. I've broke that before. The hardest bone in your body is your jawbone? Huh. Not for me. Not for me. I broke my jaw a million places to the point where I can't even get a, like, if I needed to, I can't get a permanent tooth put in there. Like if I needed to ever have that done, because the metal is right there on my like surface of my gum. That's not a good idea. She was so pretty, Orange. She was so pretty. And you know, there's no reason why these two couldn't just get divorced and go about their merry ways. I mean, he was seeing people, apparently she was seeing someone, apparently. Why stay together? They both look like they were financially okay. I mean, you know, why? Why stay together? But don't forget, this week we are doing giveaways. We're going to actually do one tomorrow because I wasn't going to tell you guys, but I'm like, I want to tell them. So we're going to do one tomorrow. So be on the lookout. If you wanted out divorce, exactly. If you wanted out just divorce. Tanya's jaw said, hold my beer and watch this shit. It really did. It really, really did. It really did. So, but it doesn't matter who had an affair and who didn't have an affair. That means nothing in this case to me, in my opinion. In my opinion, it's literally someone took another person's life instead of just walking away. Instead of just walking away. Just should have walked away. Are you serious? Just sign and go, right? Wait, what? I mean, like literally it's $1,200 or something. You sign on the line. I don't know exactly how much it is to get divorced, but that's like I think that's like a $1,200 for one of those what's it called? Like trial separation periods. And then you just sign it if you decide, you know, that you want to. Oh, that is my boutique. It's my store. It was probably in the chat, maybe. But what is the boutique? I've put it in there for you if you want. If it's not if it didn't come in through Nightbot, I'll put it in here. I want to do boutique gift card too. Well, that'd be fun. And then if that one is a guy that wins, like we'll do a different gift card, of course. I won't make you guys get something from a boutique. That'd be kind of funny. That'd be kind of funny of me, actually. So let me save this to Suzanne. I want to save that file. I always save them and I forget that I save them. So let me just double check to make sure that there's nothing I'm missing. So they found three different medications in her system. They all have the effects of sedation, like they sedate you. Now, I'm hoping that she was sedated and she didn't feel a thing. She don't know nothing. She don't even know what happened. If there's a bullet found there, it's a weathered bullet. I mean, is it a spent bullet or is it an unspent bullet? Is it in the casing? Is the casing beside it? I wonder, you know. I believe she wanted out. I don't know why them two couldn't, you know, just go their separate ways. I don't think he will collect any insurance. If he is like convicted, he wouldn't. But I'm assuming that might go to her daughters. Now, I don't know if they had a prenup or if she had signed anything where or if she had given her daughter, maybe they were the executors of her estate. If something were to happen to her, she could have signed off the day before, and Barry could be none the wiser. But I'm not sure. Yeah, there wasn't any trauma to her bones. Yeah, Heather, that's true. But I'm wondering if maybe they just didn't find those bones. because they literally just found what, like 3 bags. What Ashley said. Yeah. Split custody, get on with your life. Yeah. Bowel movement. I mean, he has to, I think that he'll get rearrested, and I think that he's going to get charged, and I think he's probably going to be found guilty of this. I don't know what else they're going to put out there. I mean, if they're keeping anything in their arsenal, I mean, I would think they would have some more. Like, I feel like people don't usually put out like their whole case. So maybe they do know where this bullet came from. Maybe they're testing that bullet to match up to one of Barry's guns right then, or, I mean, right there, that would connect him to the scene. I don't know. I think they might be, actually, I think it's more of I think that his daughters just don't want to know. I think that they're playing if they don't think about it, it didn't happen card. And I can understand that. I get like, I used to get like that. Like, I didn't want to hear anything bad. You know what I mean? I was like, just don't even tell me. Like, I would like wince at bad news. Like I said, my dad, he passed, he was killed in a car accident, and it took me a while before I could read that. And it was a lot. It was way more than 4 pages. I don't know why it was way more, but I guess because, denial, that's what I think it is. And I mean, I would like to think that I wouldn't be like that, but I don't know how I would be. That's, you've literally lost one parent, gone, poof, and you have the other parent saying, I didn't do this. I wouldn't do that to you. I would never hurt you girls. Like, you want to believe, but I feel like these girls are smart. I don't know. I feel like in part of their brain, they know, and their heart, they know. Now, if this was a situation where, because my situation was a lot different. My mom didn't, unlike my dad. But if my situation was like this one, I think I would want to read it. So we already did Pharmacist on the channel. We already read 131 pages of that. So you can go back and check that out, though, if you'd like to, on our, I have a whole playlist. Yep. Nancy and everything. So I'm going to jump off here. That's all I got for you guys for tonight. But hopefully they'll rearrest him, and we'll get some charges. Maybe we'll wake up tomorrow, there'll be some charges filed. Probably not that quick, but we can wish. Solo, I like that. Yeah, you don't know what can happen. Yeah. I mean, that's true, Ladybug. That's really true. You don't know. I mean, they were married for what, 20 some years? I think she knew he was capable of doing something to her, but I don't think she realized exactly, like, to the extent. But thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I want to do a Sebastian Rogers stream. It's been a while since we've done one, and I've been dissecting that interview that Seth and Chris were on panel arguing with each other. I've been going through that, and I've been listening to other people's lives on it, and I listened to that live. I'm almost through the rest of that live, but I've seen like 10 hours on this, I feel like. So I'll be back tomorrow to tell you guys all about it. So you guys don't have to watch the video again on another channel, because I know every creator, true crime creator on the YouTube streets played that interview, and it's like 4 hours long or something crazy. So I won't do that to you. But thank you guys all for being here. Thanks for coming in. Thank you guys for spending some time with us tonight. Pharmacist, we did that too. Actually, we didn't do that, but that's okay. We're not going to do that. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you guys all later. Bye, guys.